Hello and welcome to the Stafford Boxing Report. I'm Sheila.
I'm Stafford. Yeah, that's me.
Stafford Boxing.
The making of champions.
Hey, hello everybody. Glad that everybody's here.
Yes, sir.
So what are we talking about today?
Man, we talking about a lot today. And first of all, I want to thank everyone for tuning in live and for those that's going to be able to watch after the live broadcast. And I'm just excited for this day, this opportunity to talk about some boxing and talk about life. What you got going on, Queen Sheila?
Well, first, I'm going to let everybody know that I'm going to make sure that I check the comments and answer any questions and read out all comments. So I'm going to do better with that because I said the last time I was really slipping. So we are going to speak a little bit about Isaac Cruz.
Oh, yeah.
I had to say his name like that.
Isaac Cruz. Yeah.
I have to actually say, watching him and then his personality,
Yeah.
and then my husband and I were talking about how humble he is.
Extremely.
And one of the things that I do like about him is that he keeps his personal life personal, away from the media. And that really just shows respect that he has for his family. And we have somebody here, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Let me spell it first. Adarie Pennant, Adria Pennant. Can a heavyweight boxing be popular like NFL and NBA or baseball in America if it was pushed properly?
Yes. Absolutely. 100%. But, baby, I wanted to go back to Isaac Cruz.
And then we'll go back to that to the question and go a little bit more into depth about that. But yeah, I said why I like and Isaac Cruz, the way he fights, it's very exciting. It seems like when he is up on his opponent, you can see him think because his punches are powerful and precise and his combinations, his combos. And when he is up on you, he does not want to stop.
Is it fair to say that when we watch Isaac Cruz, that you can see some of the peekaboo of boxing style?
Yes, and when my husband had mentioned that, I was looking even more closer to his fighting style. And yes, he's ducking. One of the things that I
Head
like, or
movement.
head slipping, but he likes those body blows.
Yeah.
That's one thing, his body blows and an uppercut.
You know, the other thing that I like about Isaac Cruz is that he not only is he fighting for his wife, his children, his father, who is his trainer, but he's also fighting for his country. And that's the thing that I see between the Hispanic community and the African American community. The African American community, when they fight for their mother, their spouse, their kids, and belts, because you had talked about belts is something that they use to validate. But when Hispanic fighters and other fighters across the world, they fight for their country. So that to me is a little bit more incentive for them to really give it all when they go into the boxing ring. What you think?
No, I totally agree with you. You can tell because when we were talking earlier, when they come to the United States and they fight, their neighbors, their family, and everybody else who they may or may not know, they come
And
support, and they're there.
yes.
So they're a big part of that.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why Bob Arum is channeling his energy and focus to the Hispanic community, because at the end of the day, as a boxing promoter, your objective is to put people in the seats. And the Hispanic community fighting is something that they truly support. Also, the African community, like in South Africa, North Africa,
Facts.
East Africa, that community, Ukraine, London,
Hmm.
all those other countries. And so I think that what we would like to do through the Stafford Boxing Club is to make boxing somewhat popular in the African American community, and hope that it would be a vehicle to encourage and invite, those that are in urban communities to come out and support our local talent. It's very important.
It
That's one of the
is.
things that I see in our community compared to other communities in terms of the support and the boxers. And it's like the boxers from, let's say, Mexico and Africa, they use any and every obstacle as motivation. They may not have the luxury that we have in the US, but man, you see them training in inhumane conditions. I've never seen a group of people train under the highway like I did when I was watching the fighters train in Nigeria. I mean, they was literally under the highway, baby. And I was like, man, that's passion. That's determination. That's something that they're saying there is no excuse that's going to get in my way from me accomplishing my goals to be a heavyweight champion. So when they fight, they fighting for a purpose. You know what I mean? Not only to get their family up out those situations, but they fighting for a purpose. And I think that's very important that our community understands.
And then to go off of what you were saying, that in Africa, they do use whatever resources they have. Like one time when we were watching someone practice, they were punching tires.
Tires. They was
Tires.
punching tires. Like just putting in work. As a matter of fact, we got a couple of fighters up in Nigeria that have been reaching out to us, and hopefully, baby, one day we're gonna get them on the show to give them some exposure. Like Graham was talking about, he said the only thing that is missing is exposure, and so with technology, hopefully we can incorporate that into those communities so that they can see the talent in Africa, because there is a lot of talent. And have you ever seen the sport where they they wrap they they wrap one hand and they use one hand?
Yeah, I saw that. You were watching it and I was looking.
And so it was like a whole lot of people coming out to support that. And I'm talking about, it was like thousands and thousands of people coming out. So combat sport is very popular in Africa, and I really think that we should be able to, tap into their market by providing the necessary technology that's necessary so they can get exposure. I mean, I see a lot of economic growth opportunity in Africa.
That is true. And also, when you were talking about when they were just using their one hand, did you see the one where they had the tire and then they had the one foot in?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
they were
yeah,
just
yeah,
using
yeah,
that
yeah,
one
yeah.
hand too. So, and also how they're training, whether it's on granite, cement, or just the dirt, that also helps with balance.
Yes, it
because
does.
some of the boxers also used to train in a gym. So that actually helped with their balance. Just real quick, Vinny Oil B, Pitbull Cruz, a knockout artist for sure.
Yeah, for
and
real.
yes, and then we were talking about what are you about to say?
I was about to say about the fight with him and Devontae Davis.
Oh yes.
Baby, listen now, Devontae, we love you, bro.
We do.
We are big fans.
We do. And
But I think you need to run that back with Victor Cruz. I mean, Isaac Cruz. I mean, because that dude right there is serious. And if the division is going to be competitive, fight the top people, fight the top people. You know what I mean? Like, if you in the top 10, the number one fight number 10, number two fight number 9, number 3, 8, and so forth and so forth. And so, like, just to make it competitive. But Isaac Cruz, man, he's serious, and we are a big fan of his, man. He's so humble, he's respectful, he's professional, man. And even when Gervonta Davis gave him an opportunity to fight, he went to Gervonta and said, "Man, thank you so much for the opportunity to fight." And as a result of him giving that opportunity and the way he displayed professionalism, he had an opportunity to get on the card, the recent card that when Devontae Davis had the fight with what's his name?
Santa La Cruz.
Nah,
You're not talking about that one?
nah, I'm talking about his recent fight. I forgot the dude, Rolling, the dude he knocked out.
Oh yeah, Rolling.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was making all those little smart comments.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
excuse me.
But Isaac Cruz was on that fighting card. You know what I mean? So that just to show that having professionalism is very important, because when you demonstrate a level of humility comes before the promotion. Pride comes before the fall. I think every fighter should understand that. I think that every human being should understand that, whether you boxing or not. Humility comes before the promotion. Pride comes before the fall.
That is true. And that reminds me of Muhammad Ali, because Muhammad Ali was a man of integrity inside of the boxing ring, within the boxing industry, and society outside in the community. And he stood up for what he believed in.
Baby, you want to talk about the Muhammad Ali Act?
Oh, yeah. That's why Senator John McCain,
rest in peace, Senator John McCain,
who was also a former boxer himself, named the Muhammad Ali Boxing Reform Act after Muhammad Ali, because he wanted to bring that integrity to the boxing industry. And so I don't repeat what I just said, but it's because of what Muhammad Ali stood for in his character and integrity. So they did that, and that was actually created to reform unfair and anti-competitive practices within the boxing industry. So it would protect the boxers from the promoters, because unfortunately the promoters had secret contracts.
Under the table deals.
Yes. And also they had agreements with the management of the boxer. So it was like they were crossing over the line. So with the Ali Act, there's no more of that. They're separate. So they're keeping it away from each other.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Besides, how do you feel the Muhammad Ali Act is relevant today? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Sheila. I never heard about that until you was doing your research and you and I began to talk, and you brought that to my attention. And you and I know how important Muhammad Ali is to the boxing community, but he's also important to the African American community for what he stood for as a black man in this country. So now that he has gone on to be with the Lord, how do you think his legacy, as it pertains to this legislative act in Congress that they approved, how does it really affect the African American community?
Well, the African American community should actually look into this Reform Act, because
you say boxers?
No, just boxers and
trainers,
just everyone. Gotcha. Because of, once again, what he stood for. He sacrificed himself, and then his family also supported him, because he wasn't making the money because of what he believed in. So within the African community, that means that we should all be coming together. We should all be, what's the word that I want to say, to encourage the youth, the at-risk youth. That's what we really need to do. Instead of just being separate, we should be coming together. Like my husband said, when the Hispanic community comes to the United States, travels from where they are to the United States to support one of their own, that's what we need to start doing, whether it's within the boxing industry or out of the boxing industry. Everybody plays a part. That's how things work.
And you know what, baby? Muhammad Ali was an amazing human being, and for Congress, United States Congress, to put a bill into your name, in order for a bill to get approved, it must go through the U.S. House of Representatives and the United States Senators, right? And I think that it is so appropriate for a man of that magnitude to have a law to make sure that the fighters are compensated and not taken advantage of, whereas the managers and promoters are predatorial boxing bit practices, business boxing business practices. Excuse me.
BBBB.
For real. And I, like over the weekend, shout out to Rick Glazer. He called out Don King.
Yeah, facts.
He called out Don King for mismanagement of fiduciary means to a fighter who deserved his prize from fighting a fight. And it's very disappointing, Sheila.
Yeah.
I must say, when I hear Don King in some type of controversy about not paying the fighters. I mean, that was the big issue between Mike Tyson, that Don King, misappropriated some funds or whatever. But I mean, here it is, like, he had a great reign in the 80s, right? It's 2022 and you still hearing negativity about his character. And that's why we believe that Customato is such an icon to us, because of his character, what he stood for. And if I may say, Sheila, I know that a lot of people in our community would say, well, he's campaigning for a white man, right?
Yeah.
But it's not him being a white man that I'm campaigning and is inspired by. I'm inspired by his legacy. During that time when Customato was alive, when he would travel with his fighters, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it, like, he would stand up for his fighters when they couldn't go through the front door. There were business establishments that didn't allow black people to come into the building, period. So they would have to sleep out in the bus, and Cuss would sleep out there with them. He could go into the hotel rooms, in the hotels, and sleep, him and Camille, but he stood for a purpose. And to me, for a man, a white man, to stand up for black kids during that time, it said a lot about him. Like, he didn't care. And that's why me and Sheila have so much admiration for Customato. He was taking kids out the slums, the ghetto of New York, Brooklyn. He was putting them in his personal 14-bedroom mansion. Some of these kids he ain't even know. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, like, so with the Stafford Boxing Club, that's what this is about. This is about reaching back to those at-risk youth in the black community and instilling them discipline, structure, self-esteem, confidence, financial literacy, the importance of an education, mannerism. All our kids, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. That's how we running our ship. We stand on principles. We stand on the Bible. That's just what we believe. We believe what we believe because it worked for us and it has gotten us to this point. So we love Customato for real. That's no cappuccino. And Sheila and I hope that one day when we go on to be with the Lord, that someone will be inspired by our legacy, by what we contributed, about what we stood for in the community, just like Cuss did. Because the scripture said that one generation is supposed to leave an inheritance for the next generation. And that's how you grow and mature as a people. And if I may say this, Sheila, with all due respect,
I got you all in the comments. Give me a moment.
man, shout out to the Jewish community, man. I mean that, man. Like, man, I really appreciate y'all support, man. Like, man, I really do. I really do, man. I appreciate the community, the Jewish community. I really do, man. It's very humbling. It's very humbling that the Jewish community would embrace a black man and a black woman, husband and wife, for a cause like this. And I was watching this show. Well, I was watching a video of the prime minister from Ethiopia, and he was speaking in their language, but there was an English translation. And in that translation, he said, when the Civil Rights Act was passed by Congress, Jewish people and the African American people were in the same predicament. The difference is that the Jewish community, they took that opportunity and created wealth. They they empowered themselves with positions in different industries. They collaborated their resources and supported where the Jewish community has a stronghold on corporate America in the United States. Then the prime minister from Ethiopia said, African Americans, you free, but you poor. And I looked at, and when he said it, I was like, man, like, I got to thinking, and I'm trying to look, and I'm thinking about it in our community. And I'm saying to myself, like, the only thing I see that we do is kill each other. So do I fault the prime minister from Ethiopia saying that? No, he calling it like it is. And so, by the grace of God, I hope that me and Sheila can make a change in our community and that the community will support the Stafford Boxing Club. Not because it's me and Sheila, my last name is Stafford, because we using it as a vehicle to go to at-risk youth. It seems like our youth is more so um, involved with their sexual identity instead of their intellectual and educational identity. When I look at the history of African American, like our ancestors, they were some solid folks. They were well educated. They dressed well. And today, I just think that everybody want to be a rapper, everybody want to entertain and all that, but we don't have no power. That's still like being a slave in my humble opinion. All the money that has gone through the churches, the black churches, the the entertainers, the athletes, and we still don't own nothing, man. Still don't own nothing. We have this crab in the bucket mentality. We don't, I hurt you, I do that. All that old type of energy that you got towards another black person, how come you don't use that energy towards your dreams? How come you don't? You know what I'm saying? It's more black women in college than it is black men. You don't want to discipline yourself. So boxing is a way that we can use to attract these youth and teach them about that aggressive behavior. Like, hey man, these white folks will give you alphabet. No cap. They'll give you alphabet. They'll
A
give
to
you 100
Z.
years. They'll give you 100 years. And that's not what our ancestors, fought and died for. As a matter of fact, I feel, in my humble opinion, that our ancestors should have the opportunity to have the freedom that we have today, and we deserve to be in shackles because we just don't do anything with our freedom. We talk about each other. We don't encourage each other. Everybody think that they better, and we don't own nothing. We don't own nothing. Nothing.
He said it all. I
Man,
don't even have anything to say. He said it
we
all.
just, you know what I mean? And like, that's why when I heard about Don King, and I'm like, bro, come on, bro. You've been blessed with the opportunity to have your name mentioned across the world. And yes, you giving fighters an opportunity to fight, but as a promoter and manager, you making millions and millions of dollars. Rick Glazer said that it was what $1 billion then passed through him and Mike Tyson,
Whew.
and you still with this buffole, bro. Like,
You're making it bad for the next person
you
that
making it
comes.
bad, bro.
That's coming after you.
You making it bad, bro. You making it bad, bro. You making it bad. I mean, you should be ashamed. Like, at some point, a man that went to prison,
Hmm.
got an opportunity to promote at the highest level one of the most famous boxers of all time, and you still with this buffole, bruh. And I salute Rick Glazer for calling you out. He say y'all partners and everything, but wrong is wrong and right is right. And that's why I really like these Jewish folk, man. They'll help you, man, for real. And I really appreciate, because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. We've been having problems with the Negroes, man. You know what I mean? Like, you're not professional. Keep your word, man. That's the thing that I admire about the Jewish community, man. Their word is they bond, bruh.
Oh, shout out to Russell.
Yeah, Russell Peltz.
Yep.
Man, listen, let me tell you about him. Russell Peltz, he is not savvy when it comes to technology. But man, he went above and beyond to make sure that he was there for my wife in the midst of his wife going through cataract surgery. He wanted to make himself available to be on the Stafford Boxing. And I ain't gonna call you black folks out who acted real fraud and was plexing because of me and my wife got the podcast show and we invited you and you don't even call back, bro. And you not, and then the crazy part about it is you don't even have no power. None of y'all have no power. All the power. Anyway, so, shout out to Russell Peltz.
And his wife.
And his wife. And then when my wife was at Georgia State, what was it, last year? And you call him out the blue.
Who, you talking about Russell?
Yeah, Russell Peltz.
Yeah, that
It was sophomore year?
Yeah, that's when I first started
Sophomore
downtown.
year, my wife called Russell Peltz.
Well, I emailed him.
He emailed him, said, hey, listen, I'm taking a journalism class at Georgia State University. I wanted to interview you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Man, I swear it seemed like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 11, 5 minutes later, bam, bam, bam.
And didn't even know me.
Didn't even know my wife. Didn't even know my wife. Extended himself. Then he let my wife know after the interview, texted, said, if you need anything, I'm talking about contracts, whatever, just give me a call. Mm-hmm. Jackie Callan.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
I mean, bro,
Jackie
Callan is an icon in the boxing industry.
The first lady of boxing.
You know what I'm saying? Reached out to her. Oh yeah, sure. Woo, woo. She was James Toney manager. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And like, I don't understand. And then
James Feldman, we can't forget him. Oh, we can't forget him.
Celebrity boxing is real. I mean, some people may see like it's a joke or whatever, but at the same time, what he's done is carve a piece in the boxing industry of marketing opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them Paul boys, mm-hmm. Logan and Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Like, for real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they bring in a different element to the boxing industry, bringing exposure, because at one point of time, boxing wasn't real. It was going down. MMA was like coming up. And them boys, they using technology, call them YouTubers, mm-hmm. or whatever you want to do, but say about them boys, but they bringing that bread, they bringing fans to the sport of boxing. You get what I'm saying? And I really got a lot of respect for them boys. And what's else my boy name? Rick Glazer. Man, we just had him on the show, man. And man, he was like, yo, man, and these are bosses, bro. These are bosses. And we're not going to even, I'm the type of person, I'm not even going to say nothing about nobody. You get what I'm saying? Because I heard a saying one time. I was attending a conference, and the lady said, be careful of the toes that you step on today, because the toes that you step on today may be the ass you kiss tomorrow, and that is no cappuccino.
Let me read the comments. So, Scrapbook Boxing, good afternoon, Sheila, and your well-supported husband. I always enjoy your program.
Thank you.
Scrapbook Boxing, exactly right. Scrapbook Boxing, absolutely right, brother, because I had a gym called Grammy's Gym on 14th Street in New York. In Manhattan, 14th Street, New York City. And then Scrapbook Boxing says, I'm proud of you all. as a couple. It's inspiring. You are speaking all facts, Mr. Stafford. And then Scrapbook Boxing put the
Uh,
prayer
please, sir,
hands
it's very humbling,
emojis.
but just call me Stafford. I, I I'm just a humble guy. I really appreciate the acknowledgement, but baby, let's get to
With
what's
the
her name?
who? No,
Uh,
I didn't even finish with the promoters, because since you were talking about Don King,
oh, okay, bad.
finish
My
with
bad. My bad.
the Reform Act.
Okay.
So also the contract has to be mutual, and it has to specify the minimum number of fights per year that the boxer actually has to do. And the one that I really, really like too is the fact that the boxers aren't made to hire the promoter's family and friends and their business partners, because once upon a time they had to do that. So that's like a conflict of interest. And what they were also doing was, which they don't have to do anymore, is that the promoters were actually taking a percentage of the boxing expenses, which would actually breach the boxer's contract. So that's one of the things too. The other thing was protecting the boxers from the sanctioning organizations, because once upon a time, the managers, the boxers, and promoters would give them hidden payment, which would be gifts and fees, which was over what the fees the promoters and the managers already had to pay. So they were giving them that. Also, it'll protect the boxers from the sanctioning organizations, from the way that they do their ratings, because that's where the mismatch fights happen. Because one boxer's rating might be high and he'll be skillful, but then another boxer is not as skillful as that boxer. So that's how the mismatch fights would happen. So when they do that, they now have to report it to the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission. So
and IRS.
Anytime that they change the boxers' ratings, they have to report that. They also have to report any of the officials who voted on the ratings of the boxers. They also have to report that as well. So it's no more of that, because as we know, boxing still has some corruption within it, but decades ago they really had some serious corruptions, such as fixed fights,
bribing,
and referees and the judges, even with the timing, like the timer might malfunction. So the referee's decision would totally be off. Oh,
is it fair to say that's why the Muhammad Ali Act is important?
yeah, because it's really supposed to protect the boxers, because if you think of it this way, boxers really need to have lawyers.
Why?
And the reason
why?
because the reason why they need to have lawyers is because of the way that the contract may be written in a language where some people might not even understand it. Like, I've actually read a contract that Top Rank had, and I had to read it over twice. And this was for a woman's contract. I read it, and Top Rank was straight pimping these women. Don't get me wrong. Yes, they were grateful for having an opportunity, because that was their passion. That's what they wanted to do. And that's what they had to do to make a living. So it'll be what, like $4,000, $7,000, but payment for the networking. So networks that advertise the fights or anything, marketing, all that, none of that went to the fighters. They just had, like, it was almost like a down payment. Here's $4,000. That's all you're going to get.
Everything else,
But
top
everything
rank.
else is top rank.
Well, baby, you got to understand that Bob Arum is a lawyer by trade. He's a tax lawyer.
And I understand that. But boxers really need to have lawyers because of the language, and not everybody reads thoroughly. You always have to read the fine print, that small little writing that we like to just skip over because it's just so small and we may think that's a waste of time. That's one of the reasons why you get got, because I think they purposely put that small writing there because they know everybody's not going to take the time. And then when they have a lot of papers in a contract, I'm just talking period. Like if you have a contract, whether if you're getting an apartment, a house, they got all these papers. And they know that people are really not going to read it because they're going to be like overwhelmed. I don't even want to read all this. I'm just going to go ahead and sign it and just do that. So boxers get lawyers.
In addition to their managers.
Yes. And the managers, you need to do your boxers right. This is the thing that I don't understand. What's up with all the greediness? I really don't get it. I'm always talking about when you are given an opportunity. When you're given an opportunity, you want to do the right thing because it's not all about you. It's about those that are with you, those that are watching, and those that are going to be coming after you.
But
These
baby,
boxers these boxers go through so much personally. You don't know what they're going through. It might be this one fighter that the family is seriously depending on for them to get the money. Not because they're lazy, but we just don't know what's going on. So then you want to take money, or you want to half pay, or you want to pimp somebody because you don't want to give them what's rightfully theirs. Look, you all don't know, and I'm not trying to sell us, and we're not the type of people that try to get everybody hyped like politicians and tell you one thing and then turn around and do the total opposite. That's not us. This is just the passion that you're hearing from us and the way that we live our lives, which is honestly. Do boxers and do people right. Pay the value of whether it's your employees or your boxers. All of you all can make money if you do the right thing. Just put the work in. I've already said that you all should, of course, yes, the boxer can market themselves, but that shouldn't be their main priority. Trying to get on all social media platforms and put certain things out there. No. Hire somebody to market your boxers. There's plenty of people that's just graduated from college.
and that's what they do.
And that's exactly what they do because that's what I learned to do. Get your mind right. Stop being greedy. Stop taking advantage. And also, to all the promoters, don't think just because you have been getting away with what you've been getting away with for so long, don't think that things just don't come to a halt. Everything is going to come to an end. Because now you've gotten real cocky. Stop
Greedy.
it.
Greedy.
Stop it.
Man, you feeling yourself. Okay, bet.
Because I want people to be done right when they put the work in. Because I know how it is
And that's what Cuss was
to
about.
not get paid
For something that you deserve.
something that I deserved, and I worked hard and went over and above what I was supposed to do because that's just the type of person that I am.
But if I may say
it, please.
At the end of the day, it's about the bottom line. It's about when you promoting the sport of boxing, it's about entertaining the people to make sure that they getting a good product. So with that being said, it comes down to whether or not the boxer put in the work. A lot of boxers want the fame, they want the fortune, but they're not willing to put in the work.
That's true.
And like Rick Glazer was talking a couple of weeks ago, he said the difference between the fighters of back then and now is that they sweet. He said
Like
it's
with the
sweet.
Krispy Kreme with the light on, the
Yeah, the
hot
red
light
light,
on.
that just it's like a glazed donut, just super sweet, man. You know what I mean? Like you're not mentally strong. You don't have the discipline with all the distraction. How do you expect to be a champion? How do you expect for a promoter to market you when you don't want to be disciplined and avoid certain situations? If you put in the work and discipline yourself, eventually you're gonna get to that point. If you're in the back of the line and you keep working, eventually you're gonna get the front of the line. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. That's no cap.
Scrapbook boxing. I like that scrapbook boxing. 1952, Archie Moore was paid $800 and Joey Maxim was paid 100,000, is that 100? To fight in a world championship fight. Manager Jack Kearns was both manager and promoter. Ali Act stops that. You're absolutely
For
right.
sure.
Because it actually separates it too.
For sure.
So, look, I have this story from the Bible. Everybody should be familiar with it because they always play it a few days before Easter and then they play it on Easter Sunday. So it's about Moses. Moses' mother was a Hebrew woman, and during that time, the king of Egypt had instructed the midwives that any Hebrew woman that gave birth, if it was a boy, then they're supposed to kill him. The reason why he said that was because the Hebrews were multiplying so fast, it was so many of them, and they were concerned that the Hebrews would actually overtake them and overpower them. So
Preach.
okay, so anywho, his mother hid him, put him in a basket in the Nile River, and his sister just watched over him. So Pharaoh's daughter found him. She raised him as her own. So Moses one day was out and he saw an Egyptian mistreat a Hebrew. Now, the Hebrews at that time in Egypt, they were slaves. So Moses ended up killing the Egyptian. He then saw and heard two Hebrews fighting and talking. So Moses asked him, "Why are you mistreating your brother?" Well, the Hebrew said, "Are you going to do the same thing that you did to the Egyptian?" So Moses got out of there. He fled.
Pew.
So during that time, he got married and God was talking to him and God was grooming him because God told him, "I want you to go back to Egypt. I want you to get my people. I've heard their cries and I've heard their prayers." Moses wasn't really confident. He had an issue with his speech. So God said, "Okay, your cousin Aaron is going to go with you." So he packed his family. They went to Egypt. Now, they talked to Pharaoh several times, but Pharaoh was very hard-headed. God hardened his heart. There was many plagues that came. I'm not going to say all of them, but it was the plague of blood, the gnats, the frogs, the boils that you can get on your skin, and darkness. Now, the last one was the critical one because all firstborns were going to be killed. So the Hebrews had to kill a 1 year old lamb, no defect on it. So they used the blood to put over the door frames and the sides of the door frames. So when God came, he would pass by all of those houses that actually had the blood.
Well,
So at 12 o'clock, everyone who was associated with Pharaoh, all their firstborns were killed, even the livestock, and even they had Egyptian slaves, their firstborn was killed as well. So Moses and Aaron goes back to Pharaoh and says, "Okay." Pharaoh says, go leave my people." So the Hebrews asked for articles of gold and silver from the Egyptians. They gave it to them. They left. Now they crossed over the Red Sea, because God instructed Moses to stretch out his hand. Now they got to thinking, Pharaoh and the Egyptians, what did we just do? Who's going to serve us? Who's going to do all this work? We have nobody. Well, of course, yes, you're right. They went after the Hebrews. So God caused confusion, was jamming up the chariots' wheels as soon as the Hebrews crossed through the Red Sea because God had parted it. You know how you part your hair and it's over like that? That's exactly what God did. He parted the Red Sea. Once the Hebrews crossed over, God said, stretch out your hand. He stretched out his hand again, and all the water went back to how it normally is. So Pharaoh and all the Egyptians that was with him, they're no longer. So by association, by association with Pharaoh, they suffered by not doing what was supposed to be the right thing to do. It's kind of like I was telling my husband, when you have a glass and you just pour the water, it's going to overflow and it's just going to keep on going. So it's going to affect you. So that's why I was saying that, first of all, you have to be careful who you associate yourself with. My husband said pride comes before the fall. And because so many people and businesses have been getting away with things that's not right.
Unethical business practices.
I like that. Thank you. That's why I love him. We work great together.
And to echo on what you were saying, and
Facts.
the story of Moses, and that was a great story. I love the way that you illustrated. As you was talking, I was kind of like, my mind started to go there. And I remember when we started the Stafford Boxing Club, and it came to us in a vision from God.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I talked,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's just like when Moses sent two to the promised land, which
Mm-hmm.
was Joshua and Caleb,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't had any experience in the boxing industry,
Mm-hmm.
but when we began to do our research, we discovered that it was flowing with milk and honey.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we came back with the good report. We talked it over with people. They was like, man, you're not going to get in. Bob Arum, Top Rank, Don King, all them guys, they control everything. You'll never get this. You'll never get that. And I was like, wow, baby, you know, God said for us to go over there.
Mm-hmm.
But when we came back and told our peers, everyone was like, man, you got to have millions of dollars. You got to do this. You got to do that. But two came back with the good report. Me and Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that over in the boxing industry, it's flowing with milk and honey. Oh, it's a lot of giants over there. Oh, it's a lot of giants over there. But we seen an opportunity. The other thing is this. The God of Israel, who we serve and we believe in,
Of Abraham.
is
Jacob,
bigger
Isaac.
than Top Rank, Bob Arum, any other promoter, any crookedness or anything that's going on in the boxing industry. And we know that the boxing industry is a playground for gangsters. I know that. But this is what's going to allow me and Sheila the opportunity to get in front of those people so that you can see the Stafford Boxing logo. Yeah, you can see it. You get what I'm saying? What's up, E? Yeah, it's going to be the favor of God because the scripture said, he that findeth a wife findeth a treasure and obtain favor from the Lord. See, a woman got a lot of Scooby snacks in that treasure box. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to be the favor of God that's going to get us in front of Bob Abraham. It's going
Facts.
and Bob, with all due respect, I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I have no desire to practice law, and I'm not practicing law. Let me make that disclaimer. I know that you have a background in law. You went to undergrad at NYU, got your JD from Harvard University, the best of the best, right? So I know how your thinking is. You are a shrewd businessman. The only thing you care about is the bottom line. Now, Bob, I have seen so many things about your past. I've read about them. This is in black and white. And I look at you as one of these game dogs that have been tested. You've been, you know what I mean? You've been in a lot of matches. You've been, and you got a lot of scars from your experience. So when me and my wife sit before you, we we not gonna leave with empty-handed. We want to leave with some paperwork, but we're not gonna leave with that paperwork that you had them fighters sign, and it's not gonna be no kumbaya or anything like that. And baby, me and you was talking, and I was asking you. I said, well, baby, what does Top Rank and Bob Arum get out of helping the Stafford Boxing Club, our nonprofit organization? And you said,
He'll be helping the at-risk youth the same that Cuss did, and also helping a community and helping those within the community that don't look like him.
see what I'm saying? Bob, we coming. We is coming. Did you hear me? I'm like that dog when you go to a dog man yard. He'll show you all the dogs, like, hey man, there go that dog over there, there go that dog over there. And yeah, whoop de whoop whoop. But he say, hey man, I got this dog that's in the back, he in the woods. And when you walk in through the woods and you see that dog, he got a thicker chain on his neck. When you look at his dog house, it's been man, the dog done ate it up. What's up, Trap? My partner named Trap, another good dog, man, a great friend of mine's. One more question. He published his new book, and I'm gonna get him on the show, and he gonna talk about his book. But anyway, so the dog that's way in the back where no one can see, that's me. I got a lot of scars on me. I'm the dog that every other dog man want to breed his female to. It's in my blood. I'm game. I keep scratching. That's just me. No matter what happens, I'm gonna keep scratching. That's the spirit of Christ in me. It allows me to keep scratching. So when people told me what Bob Arum and Top Rank and da 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 this, that, and that to the third, I'm like, bruh, I don't fear nothing. At this point, everything I've been through in my life, I done already accepted my fate. See, me, I want to die as an honorable man. That means a lot to me because once I'm gone, I cannot change what is written about me. I want people to praise my name. Say, man, this was a great dude. He impacted the community. We look up to him. We celebrate him for being a faithful man to his wife. That's what I'm about. I'm about making change. But I know that I'm not going to be able to get through these doors unless I got my wife on my team. Together, we make a powerful team. There is no other um, couple or individual that's approaching the boxing industry the way we approaching it. We approaching it as a husband and wife. So I feel very confident that my wife is beautiful. She's powerful. She's
Thank you.
intelligent. You know, I'm just a game dog. I just keep scratching. I'm. You know what, Bob? I'm gonna be honest with you. I get a hard erection when me and my wife get some money together and when we close deals together. I really do. So I'm determined to get to that table with you. I'm determined to walk away with some paperwork that's going to support the Stafford Boxing Club, our nonprofit organization. Like my wife said, Bob, I know you won't be remembered as a can of tomatoes. I know you don't.
Mm.
I know you don't. And you know what, Bob? You stubborn. You in your own ways. You 90 years old. You see things the way you see it. But, bro, one thing about life is change. And I ain't even talking about Todd, but I mean, all due respect, I know you got an education in economics, but you got the game from Bob. You know, Bob got them scars. Like he's the top guy. He's the guy that I want to sit across and look him in his eyes. I want that opportunity, and it's gonna come. It's gonna come. Me and my wife, and we're gonna walk away with some paperwork. We do. Like I say, Bob, I'm not no attorney, but I know how to file a motion. I know how to file a complaint. I know how to oppose a response from a defendant if I'm the plaintiff. I know how to write a brief. I know how to do all that stuff. So when I look at paperwork, legal paperwork, I'm looking at it from as an attorney, but I'm not an attorney. You can refer me as a pro se litigant. But the law librarian at the federal courthouse library here in Atlanta, she said, I done seen so many pro se litigants come through here. white, black, Asian, male, female, all of them say, I ain't never seen nothing like you. Like, you different. You don't remind me of an attorney. I mean, a pro se litigant. You remind me of an attorney. What makes a successful litigator is his preparation. I know how to go in the law library and search for certain things that I need to search. I'm gonna give you a quick story talking about Miriam, the library clerk at the Cab County Courthouse. So one day, me and my wife, we was living in some apartments, and we was having landlord tenant complications, and so we went to court. And so the judge told me, he said, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to correct this." And the landlord had their attorney show up. I didn't know nothing about law or whatever, but what I did know about was research. I completed a business plan in the plasma industry, and that experience gave me the tools to learn how to research analytical information and comprehend it and put it in black and white. So I went to the law library in the courthouse, and a little short lady, her name was Mary. And I said, yeah, the judge sent me down here and told me to woo woo. She said, I tell you what, if you come here once a week for 2 hours, I will teach you for 5 weeks. I will teach you what you need to know about researching in the law library. And I was like, cool. I did it for 6 weeks. And my wife would tell you, that case that I had before the landlord, I won. Matter of fact, I didn't have other civil situations where I didn't came out on top. Matter of fact, you can ask ask Georgia State about me. Ask Georgia State. Matter of fact, yeah, I might not have got that 100 bands, but what I did, I made an opportunity for the first African American president in school history to have his opportunity. Mark Becker. Yeah. But anyway, Bob Arum, man, I swear, man, I'm gonna keep coming after you, bruh. Man, you're gonna have your folks get in contact with me. Like, I got a platform. That's the thing. The Stafford Boxing Report is our platform. And we gonna keep knocking. It's like in the scripture, it talk about the lady, the widow. Yeah. It was a widow. The judge neither feared God nor man. But the widow kept coming to the judge so many times that the judge said, I'm going to grant you justice against your adversaries because I don't want you to wear me out. Man, I'm going to wear you out, bro. I promise you, I'm going to keep scratching, bro. I'm going to keep scratching, bro. I'm really game like that. And at this point, I'm willing to give my life for this. This is my calling. With my wife, we willing to give our life for this. We want an opportunity for these at-risk kids to be able to come to the Stafford Boxing Club and eventually the Stafford Boxing Gym, to have a safe place to come to learn and to receive some love from two individuals that love each other. And that's what's missing in the black community, a healthy black marriage. This ain't no reality, celebrity reality, none of that. We're not with that. We're not compromising. We standing on business, and that's straight up. We standing on business. It's premium over here. We pushing P, pressure, premium, perseverance. That's what we pushing over here, and we mean business. We're not gonna stop, Bob Arum, top rank. What that boy name? Jacob, whatever, Brian Jacob, Josh, I don't know, I forgot his name. But man, we coming, bro. You're gonna have to see us. You're gonna have to see us one way or the other, because we're gonna, and you know what, Bob? I'm gonna tell you this. We know that you can, you're not gonna get rattled. You didn't experience everything that people, Bob Arum, this, Bob, and none of that means anything. But I know, Bob, you do not want to be remembered as a can of tomato. And guess what? He
reminds me of Pharaoh.
And yeah, you remind us of Pharaoh. You didn't finesse so many people out of so much money. You didn't made hundreds of millions of dollars black folks, yes, you gave black people, black boxers, an opportunity to make a living, et cetera, et cetera. But it's time for a change, big dog. It's one thing about life, it's change. And Sheila, the Stafford Boxing, we represent change.
I'm gonna read these comments real quick. Scrapbook Boxing, love your show, absolutely. And Andrea Pennant, remember my question? Yes. Now, some of your question I did answer
What are
when
you
we were
talking about?
talking about the Ali Act, and the rest of the question is it's really on the boxers and the promoters, because earlier my husband said that the boxers are going to have to put in the work. You can't be lazy. It's more majority of a mental mentality that they have to really.
Baby, what's our slogan?
Stafford Boxing, the making a champion. Let me answer this question. So it really falls on the boxers, because the boxers do have a responsibility, because they have to train. They have to be dedicated. They have to be confident. They're going to have to put in that work, and plus some. They're going to have to stay in that gym. They're going to have to make sacrifices. They're going to have to make sure that there's no distractions from them.
We want people with high character.
And it's also the promoters, because a lot of times promoters and management teams can break the boxer's spirit, to be honest with you. They really can. And by doing that is either by words or not giving them the money that they rightfully deserved and they worked hard for.
Man, we love this boxing
So
thing.
yes,
real.
it can become just like the NBA and the NFL.
It can.
It can.
It will be.
It will be, but
Yeah.
you got to put in that work.
Got to put in that
You have
work.
to put in the work. That's for everybody, even with the pay-per-view.
Baby, you look like Pocahontas, no cappuccino.
Thank you. So yes, it can be. It's all about work. So since we were talking about sacrifices and the Muhammad Ali Reform Act, there's a young lady that I talked about a little bit on July 4th, but I want to go more into depth about her. Lady Tiger. Actually, she spelled it Tyger. And her name is Marion Trimiar. I'm going to read, because I want to make sure that I give you the proper information of why she went on a hunger strike. So let me just tell you this first, and then we'll talk some more. She went on a hunger strike for the women boxers, the women coming into the boxing industry, for one, major network coverage for women, compensation from network promoters for a loss of livelihood, equal corporate sponsorship of women participation in boxing, the promotion of boxing for girls and women in boxing, economic parity for women on all professional boxing cards. Now, parity is the state or condition of being equal, especially when it comes to pay and how you're being treated.
Okay, then.
The promotion of boxing as an amateur and a professional sport for women. The licensing of all qualified female applicants in their respective states, because remember, she just didn't have to fight in the boxing ring. She had to actually fight to get her license. The hunger strike, it began on April 1st in 87, and then it went on to April 6, 87, but she really wasn't going to stop until those changes were made for women. And I really have to read this for you all right here. And this is another reason why, too, I get excited, because this young lady, she put her life
Sacrifice
on the line, a sacrifice for female boxers. because she saw firsthand how they were being treated and also how they were actually being taken advantage of. So I want to read this word from word because if I don't, you can get into trouble if you don't say it right. So let me read this to you. Marion Trimiar has been on a hunger strike. I'm going to read this whole thing since April 1st, fighting for the rights of female boxers. She picketed promoter Don King in his New York office on Tuesday to get more recognition and prize money. But she was also doing it because of Bob Arum being prejudiced as well. I just had to put that in.
Bob, break bread.
And also, let me tell you, she also picketed the Hagler and Leonard fight because of that. But also, I have to read this too because I'm quoting. Now, do you all remember when Bob Arum filed a lawsuit against HBO because they said they were trying to be the promoter and trying to push him out to exclude him from being a promoter? Do you all remember that? Well, let me read this quote that he said. Instead of working with promoters like they have done in the past, they have become promoters themselves. They make the fights just like promoters and pay fighters, said Bob Arum. So
Bob,
I guess
you've been pimping a long time, bro.
I think my question is, if you were done an injustice, why do you turn around and do the same thing to others? I don't get that. I mean, the saying is, hurt people hurt people.
It's greed. It's greed.
Well, there's enough money for everybody to be able
Bob
to
don't see
make.
it that way.
There's enough money out here for
Bob
all
don't
of
see
us
it
to
that
be
way.
able to make it.
Hey, Bob, listen to this.
We know when you're in the dinosaurs, like the dinosaurs era,
yeah,
but because that was
Moses
when
dead, Joshua and Caleb alive.
that was when women were so-called, which is nothing wrong with it. We're just supposed to stay at home and raise the kids and take care of the household and make sure the husband's dinner and breakfast and packed his lunch. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because I do that. I serve. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Your husband.
But yeah, your husband. I'm sorry.
Yeah, make sure.
But during these times, women was like, I want to do something. I want to do something. And fights and women fights are exciting.
They really are.
We watched a few women fights. They are exciting.
And I'm excited about Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Fields. Is it Fields or Shields?
Clarissa Shields.
Oh, Clarissa Shields. My bad.
Oh, you're going to have this girl go after you on Twitter. Oh, that's another thing. She does market herself. You can't ever forget this young lady. And she's going to say what she wants to say and how she's going to say it.
She from Flint, Michigan.
Woo, you don't want none of that smoke.
She from Flint.
That's that thick smoke that when that car does that backfire and it comes out, first it comes out real light, but then and then that real dark smoke comes out. Y'all don't want none of that smoke.
Clarissa Shields, I see a survivor.
She is a survivor.
I see someone that will do whatever it takes to become what she see herself in the spirit.
Yeah, and she speaks it too. I do have to say that she speaks what she wants and what she sees for herself in existence. Like she just speaks it out, and that's really what you're supposed to do. And she believes in herself.
Yes.
So Clarissa, we know you're getting ready for your fight. So much respect.
And much success.
But after your fight, we would really love for you to come on the show because you have been through so much and you have overcome so many obstacles that people, period, especially our kids, they need to hear how the struggles that you went through, but what you had to do to overcome to get to where you are now.
As a
Because
female boxer.
facts, and because a lot of people don't have that in them, or they do have it in them, but they don't know that they have it in them. And some people like myself really did not have like when I found myself in certain situations that I didn't purposely put myself in, but I did sometimes. So I didn't have anyone to say, okay, Sheila, that's not right. This is what you need to do. You are beautiful. You don't have to go through things like that. I didn't have that. And I think a lot of kids, they don't have that
Wait a
because
minute,
it's
baby. You
no,
got
no.
that when you
Yeah,
met me.
yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
talking about,
let the
but
world
but
know.
they know that we're not going through those type of marital
Issues.
issues.
Yeah, but when you say
But well,
I'm
that's
just putting
okay, my fault. That my past. I didn't have that, so she would really be instrumental. And since this is shown globally, it's so many people going through so much. So, and I really love her work ethic. I hear so much about these jobs, right? Ever since the pandemic, it's like either people don't want to work anymore or they apply for the job. And I know when you apply for the job, they've already told you what your responsibilities are. So then you say, okay, because you're in a situation and you need to make the money. But then when you get the job, you don't even do anything and you half do it. So then that puts pressure and that extra workload on and responsibilities on the other people, and then they're not even getting paid because it's almost like they don't want to get paid because, and I'm going to keep it real, they said, well, the company is owned and it's ran by white people, and then the people that I talk to who is black, and I'll be like, what does that have to do with it?
Hmm.
You need to ask for a raise because that book that you read, and I can't believe I just had a brain freeze. I'll tell you a little bit of what it was in it. That you don't have to tell a black person to go to the back.
The Miseducation of a Negro by Carter G. Woodson.
Yeah. Now that was a really great book. So it's almost kind of like that. Like you don't want to ask because you're scared because of the color of their skin.
And babe, let me say this, Clarissa Shields.
But we love you too, Savannah.
Don't give your time to white media publications, but then when a black podcast show reach out to you and your team, don't, you know what I mean? Just say not at this time, but not answering us is like a form of disrespect.
Or just say no if you don't want to, because you have that.
Just say no.
You have that right, and then we can just go ahead and just keep it.
But just be professional.
Oh, shout out to James Hagler.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, James Hagler. Yep. Don't even worry about it. And Estella.
Baby, we gotta get Isaac
Mary.
Cruz on here.
Okay.
Hey, straight up, we gonna reach out to the Hispanic community. You know what I mean? And get them on the show. Get some of their fighters. Get their perspective and what boxing means to their communities. And because I have my perception based upon the way I look at it, but I need to hear it from them, and this would be a great opportunity. Also, it'll show that us black folks, we want to connect with the Hispanic community, and we want to connect with the African community. We want to connect with any community that wants to work with Stafford and Sheila. We have a platform here. It's global. We would love, we would love to have you on the show. And it would truly be an honor for you to share your testimony and inspire others who are listening to the show worldwide about boxing and how it has impacted your life as well as the others that's connected to you.
And women, we need your support too, because I'm speaking highly for the rights of women.
Oh, wait a minute, baby. We tripping.
In the boxing
industry.
Baby,
we tripping.
What happened?
We tripping, baby.
What?
Man, we forgot to tell them that we was on the phone with the guy from
just out of the country.
Out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And he called.
No, I called.
No, he called Miriam on three-way.
Okay.
He called Miriam on three-way. and we heard her voice.
I know. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. I was starstruck,
Hey
and
man,
that's the
I ain't
first
gonna lie.
time I've ever been. That's the first time I don't get starstruck with anybody. I've seen some rappers. I've seen entertainers.
Nah,
I do not get starstruck. I'm just like
I
this.
start having goosebumps when I heard her voice, and
We hope to have her on the show.
for real. And when she was talking, I was having goosebumps all on my arm because I was like, man, and I was just thinking, I was like, Lord, we thank you so much for the opportunity just to stand on her shoulders. Without her, we wouldn't even be in this position. We wouldn't have a strong foundation to stand on. Like seriously, like when we heard her, and then the guy was like, "Hey, listen, I have a couple, yeah, husband and wife that's going to have an impact in the boxing industry." And baby, should I tell him about what he said about in the black community when he came to Atlanta?
I mean, you can.
Okay, so first the guy asked me. He said, "Man, are you a pastor, man? Because talking to you reminds me." I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna let her say what he said about me.
Reminded him of Martin Luther King, and I'm sorry, I got a lot going on in my head today. You do the other one.
Rosa
It was
Parks.
Rosa Parks.
Right. So anyway, when he said that, I was like, I was speechless. I didn't even know what to say after that.
But I'm used to it.
But anyway, um, he was saying when he came to Atlanta, it was a church. You know what I mean? And
And
I'm
we're
like,
not talking down on the black community.
nah,
We're just shedding some things in light and trying and holding all of us accountable.
So for someone that is not a native of this country and from another part of the world, and he makes a visit to Atlanta and he goes throughout the black community and he sees a high number of churches on each corner, he said that I find that to be very strange because in other parts of the world, I don't see that. And I was saying to myself, well, you know what, you preaching to the choir, because I've been saying that, like, so with the COVID, the pandemic coming through, a lot of them churches didn't shut down. And like I said earlier, it's been a whole lot of money that comes through the black churches. A whole lot of money. And yet, we don't own nothing. We don't own nothing. We had that bishop up in New York City who got robbed, what, $500,000 worth of jewelry. And then next thing you know, he gets on social media and he shows talking about this my prayer closet. Man, boy, ain't no way. Ain't no way, bruh. Come on, bruh. You making a mockery out of the gospel, bro. That foolishness, all that Gucci, man, you ain't taking that with you, bruh. Come on, bro. You really embarrassing people who truly been called to preach the word of God, bro. Come on, bro. You tripping, bro. I'm not saying ain't nothing wrong with having nice things, but bro, how you going about doing this and you putting this on media, bro? And it's not a good look, bro. It's not. We already looking bad, like the black community as far as leadership in the church. It's ain't looking good, bro. Like the kids rather go holler at dudes in gangs than rather go to the church. Back in the day, the church used to be the place that kids ran to for a safe haven. That's not it today. It's not it today. And we need to change the way how we do leadership in the black community. Let me give you an example. Other races prepare the next generations to be the leader. That's why I really respect the Jewish community and the Asian community, because they preparing their young men and women to take over. They don't want to stay in charge forever. And in the black community, we have not groomed anyone to be the leader. No one want to play a role. Everyone want to be head honcho. That's why we can't get ahead. I mean, we are discombobulated, bro. We need to come together. We all got to play parts. Everybody ain't gonna be the leader, but in order to be a great leader, he must have a great support system. And so I think that's an issue that we need to address in the black community because, like, who is our leader? We still promoting leaders who are, old, and no disrespect to them, but they cannot live forever. You got to groom the next. You got to be, that's the true level of success, is how well you prepare the successor. That's how David did, Solomon, and so forth and so forth. So if you want to level the true measure of your success, let me see who the person you grooming to take. Because Sheila and I, we preparing this for someone else to take over. We don't want to do this forever. We're not going to do this forever. We are believing that God going to raise one of these kids up that we have in our program to someday come back and take over and take this. We're going to groom them. That's what's gonna cement our legacy. And you know what? It may not be our kids, and we accept that. But God blessed us in a way that we didn't think we were going to be blessed, and we never thought that me and her would be on a podcast show talking and talking about boxing, and then embarking on a mountain such as approaching top rank in Bob Arum and any other Big Willie in the boxing industry.
Because we know that you are not the only one.
Because if the God of Israel was able to divide this Red Sea and walk his people over to the promised land, it's the same God that I believe that can get me in front of Bob Arum.
Zev said Al Heyman.
Man.
And Andrea Pennis said need a lot more heavyweight fights in boxing.
Yeah, we do. We do. And hopefully,
right.
and hopefully the Stafford Boxing can be that vehicle. No,
will be that vehicle.
We will play a part in bringing heavyweights to the table. Heavyweight, lightweight, featherweight, middleweight, all that.
We will have women.
Women boxing.
We will have women.
And I'm going to tell you right now. Hold up, baby. I'm going to tell you right now. Yeah, let me look in the camera. When I say this. You young boys and you young girls that come to the Stafford Boxing Club, I'm giving you fair warning right now. This is not a place to come as a pickup bar where you're going to find Miss Almond Joy or Mr. Good Bar. We're not tolerating that. I'm letting you know that right now. You're not coming with your agenda. You're going to follow our agenda. And I would say something about what we got going on, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. All right. But I'm giving you warning. And you only got one chance because we only got one chance. We only got one chance with you. If we do anything outside our character, that's a wrap. So the same pressure that we under to make sure that we walk a straight path, you going to do the same thing. I'm telling you now, when you get the Stafford gear with all the champion and all that, we're going to lace you up. If you out here tripping, being disrespectful to your teachers, man, I'm coming for all that. I want the book bag. I want the wristband. I want the hat. I want the pullover. I want the long, boy, I want it all. And don't even play. You put it in the bag because we coming to pick it up. And that is no cappuccino. Man, hold up, man. I just thought about my player partner, man. Man, hold up. Say, man, R.I.P. to my partner DJ Screw, man. You told me, man, when we was in your house, man, and you was on the ones and twos, man. You had all them records in your house, man. You told me, man, I was gonna scrounge the whole world, man. You told me that, and shout out to Nikki, man. And everybody used to try to figure out, man, how is he able to come into Screw House? Because everybody couldn't come into the inside, bro. He'll sell you a tape through the burglar bar door. You know what I'm saying? But see, when the favor of God is on your life, man, it gets you into arenas and places that your reputation won't be able to get you. It only will be God's favor. And man, and one more player partner, man, hold up through the body rock, man. That boy, Fat Pat. Oh. Lord Jesus. My partner, Fat Pat, man, he was a rapper out of Houston. He was gunned down in violence in that Houston. Anyway, man, I met Fat Pat over at Screw House many years ago, and I told him my name, and he told me, hey, man, I'm going to give you the name Q. So he used to call me Q, and he was so fly, man. And, like, guys like that inspired me. I got my playerism from guys like that. They was starchy nine. They wear, Southside fade. They had jewelry. They either wore polo or Tommy Hill figure. They smell good. Those are the type of people that inspired me, man. And one more player partner before we wrap this thing up, man. My partner named Troop from Gabby Road, Old National in College Park, man. And I'm gonna tell you a story about Troop, man. I had moved from Houston to College Park, and I was at Banneker. And man, them boys was about to jump me. It was about 12 of them, man. And Troop said, "Nah, man, y'all not gonna touch him, man. Leave him alone, bruh." And I'll never forget that, Troop, for real, man. And man, I used to see Troop in the community, and he used to encourage me about CP plasma, man. He said, "Hey, man, keep going with that plasma thing, man." And like I say, some of the guys that I look up to are street legends. You know what I mean? And I'm not ashamed of those who inspired me. I didn't grow up in a privileged community. I grew up in hoods. And I thank God for those individuals that poured into me. And so I hope that them guys looking up from above, man, is proud of me to be where I'm at today, be happily married to my wife, and we doing things together as a couple. And I hope that people in my community that know me from back in the day and see me today will be proud of me because I'm standing up for a purpose and willing to give my life for it. And it's a worthy cause. And I am so grateful to have a woman like Sheila to stand by my side because you cannot accomplish greatness without having your help me. And that is no cap.
Okay, one thing, and then we're going to go ahead and close this out. I just want to shout out to all the women around the world. It doesn't even matter what it is that you do or you don't do. If you're struggling, just keep your head up. I believe that we should be more supportive towards each other. I also believe that we should be more trustworthy towards each other. Sometimes us women may need another woman to talk to, but we are hesitant because when you speak to another woman, they'll use what you say against you and then end up hurting you. I think at this point in time, it's 2022, it's time for us to come together and instead of fighting each other or trying to take somebody's husband or boyfriend and just totally be disrespectful, calling each other the B word, which I totally think we should stop. I mean, I know it's a saying meaning that you're the top person, like you're that female, but in all actuality, it's a female dog. And a female dog will allow any dog to come and have sex with her.
When they ain't heat.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be the same breed of dogs. It's just.
But I ain't messing with no curs, though.
And we also need to start showing respect for ourselves, start loving ourselves and loving each other, and stop being so jealous. A lot of us need healing. I healed, and I'm still constantly working on myself. And also, constructive criticism can hurt. My husband gives me constructive criticism, which is a good thing because a lot of times it has become a habit of certain things that we're used to doing, and nobody's ever told us that it was wrong. So if someone is trying to hold you accountable, don't catch an attitude. Sometimes I would catch an attitude not because I was like, oh, he's telling me. It's because sometimes it would hurt because I'm not knowing.
My wife look better than your wife.
Not knowing that I'm doing that, and stop using as an excuse, well, men do it too. Well, we're not talking about men. We're talking about women holding each other accountable, holding ourselves accountable, and just coming together as one. God is love. God loves you. God loves all of us. So we have to actually come together. And then
hold on, baby. Let me tell them about the Stafford.
You guys, okay.
Listen, baby. Let me tell them about this. Hold up, baby. Look. Wait a minute.
Yeah, look. I was looking, but we got to wrap this up.
I know. You see the Stafford drip. Drip, you see the champion right here, baby. You see the headband
It glow,
champion.
it glow. All this
Yeah,
glows.
all this glows in the
Glows
dark.
in the dark.
Yeah, we will be having premium merchandise on sale coming soon. We working everything out, and when we have the website completed, we will definitely uh, uh, enjoy your support. Proceeds from the Stafford Boxing apparel will go towards the Stafford Boxing Club to help at-risk youth. So when you purchase this, you helping the youth.
And you're helping the community, and you're also helping other communities, because if you can help one at-risk youth, then you make a change within the family. Within that positive change within the family, you're going to make a positive change in the community. So all this crime can go down, and we'll talk about that another time, because we're about to. Yeah, go ahead and do your gold nugget, because we have to wrap it up.
Well, the gold nugget that I'm leaving today is character, man. That's important to me. That should be important to you, character. You want to be known as a person of quality character. And the reason why Sheila and I is before you today is because of character. You may not have the skill sets that another fighter or another person have, but your character is what pulls you to the door. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, you may have the same education as another person. Your education will get you to the door of opportunity, but your character will determine how far you go once you go through that door of opportunity. Character. People will love to do business with you. People will go above and beyond if you display character. That's what Stafford Boxing Club is about, becoming a person of character. And I hope that you listen to what I'm saying, you young boys and you young girls, and stop all this plexing, stop all this social media bullying. It's cap straight up. You know you're not about that life. I've been seeing these girls and these boys run up on people's houses that been talking crap on social media, and then when they put them 52s on you, you don't know what to do. You need to stop that. We need to stop that. And them little kids, y'all know every rap song, but do you know your homework? Straight up. That's about character. I'd rather focus on character than focus on doing other things to hurt people. So the gold nugget today is character.
Okay, just one last thing, and I promise this is it. Enrique Luna, yes, Stafford family, let us know on the merchandise. God's good, 100. We got you, Luna. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Brandon from College Park, man, say, man, you need to pick up that phone when I call you. And shout out to my player partner, Easy Money.
Oh, shout out to Sarah.
And that boy Quinn, for real.
All right, everybody. We appreciate those that have taken the time to watch live. Also, the comments that I did much better in today. Don't forget that you can watch it live and you can watch it later on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Rumble. Now, if you're not able to actually watch it because you're cooking, you're jogging, sewing, or whatever, or you just want the audio, you can listen to it on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Google, as well as Spotify. We thank you. We have nothing but love for everyone. We appreciate all of your support and always tuning in. Scrapbook Boxing. Oh, and Rodney Whitehead, thank you, and Darian Johnson, thank you. They've been some of our biggest supporters.
Big facts.
All right.
Stafford Boxing, the making of champions.